Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Functional Medicine with me, Dr. Howard Robbins. Today's show is going to be on anti-aging. I don't like the term, and you'll understand why when we start talking about it. It's uh, we want to grow old. The key is not just to grow old, but to grow old and be well, and that's something that isn't easily achieved. Um, but that's the key to the whole thing. And that's what we're going to talk about, how to grow old and be well. We want to thank our sponsors first off, um, because I wouldn't be here without them. The first one I want to thank, and this is important, get a pen and paper ready. If you're listening to this show, there are going to be things you're going to want to write down and do. Um, it's the first in a series because there's a lot to talk about on how to retard the aging process. Um, but we're going to talk about all that in just a few minutes. But first, let me thank PromoLife. Very important in anti-aging, as you're going to learn, is ozone therapy, and there will be things you can do at home. PromoLife makes home care and medical ozone generators, basically machines that manufacture ozone gas from medical grade oxygen. And by doing that and using it in various ways, you can cleanse, detoxify, boost your immune system. We're going to talk all about that later. So you can go to their website, PromoLife, PROMOLIFE.com. And if you do go there, you'll see all the different products that they have. When you want to get started, call them then at 888-742-3404. That's 888-742-3404. Tell them you want to get set up for home care, ozone therapy. Tell them you heard about it here on Dr. Howard's show. When you tell them that Dr. Robbins sent you, they'll do something special for you. They'll take a percentage off, or they'll give you something free that week included. They do something special for my listeners every single week. So remember, go to PromoLife, PROMOLIFE.com, and look at what their products are. If you have questions, you can always contact my office in Manhattan, 212-581-0101. They'll put you in touch with me directly. And I'll be able to answer questions and stuff like that. I hate emails. I hate texting almost as much as I hate emails. And I don't mind speaking to people. I just don't publish my cell phone number on air, but my office will be happy to give it to you. 212-581-0101. But when you're ready to purchase from them, call them at, once again, more numbers, 888-742-3404. Remember to tell them you heard about it here. Very important. We're doing a series of shows on anti-aging. And this first show is going to predominantly be talking about probiotics. If I can get through probiotics, we'll start into the other portions of the series, ozone therapy, various supplements that you can be taking that can retard the aging process. But you're going to want to get Doctor's Biome. Doctor's Biome is a very special probiotic beverage. What makes it special is that all the bacteria are living. They're not in a capsule, powder, or tablet form, which will be literally 90+% destroyed in your stomach. They're already alive and ready to go, and they are what's called next generation bacteria. Next generation bacteria have been created to survive the stomach over 90%. Then, very importantly, because they're already alive, not having to come out of suspended animation, so to speak, that capsule powders and tablets are, they're called smart bacteria. Smart bacteria didn't go to Harvard, Yale, or Oxford, or Cambridge, for that matter. They they were created to not just survive the stomach, but more importantly, stick to the wall of your gut. That's where they need to be, not just float through you to aid digestion. When they stick to the wall of the gut, they can get rid of bad bacteria that are living there, get yeast in balance again, and allow you to absorb all the nutrients that you need to absorb to retard the aging process. So we're going to be learning all about that in a few minutes. Now, when you go to Doctor's Biome, and by the way, all these bacteria are living in a delicious 100% organic juice. Mint, kale, lettuce, cucumber, celery, apple, lemon juice in the gut health version. And in the women's health version, which men can take as well, but the women's health also contains cranberry to help in the prevention and treatment of urinary tract infections. But the same proprietary 15 patented strains created that I said is next generation smart probiotics to survive the stomach. And they're living in a 100% watermelon, strawberry, pomegranate, apple juice media. But it's all 100% organic. There's no alcohol, no sugar, virtually speaking, of any consequence. And it's a symbiotic. Both of these products are symbiotics. That means they have the fiber that the bacteria want to eat to stay alive and grow in number. And that's what they do. They grow in number exponentially. By the time you get it, there's probably hundreds of billions of what's called CFUs, colony forming units in there. And that's why it's so potent and powerful. It's alive, it survives the stomach, it sticks to the wall of the gut, and there's humongous numbers of these beneficial bacteria there. And that's what this show is dedicated today, is going in terms of anti-aging, and we're going to get right into that. Now, if it's not a cheap product, because as you've heard before, nothing cheap is good and nothing good is cheap. For a reason, there's that expression. Same thing goes with ozone generators. You can buy ozone generators for next to nothing, pieces of crap, generally coming out of countries that make pieces of crap. When you want to get a quality generator, quality products like Promolife makes, their products are made right here in Arkansas, here in the USA. That's not to say there aren't other countries that can make quality products, but their machines can be used literally all over the world. The way they have the power source that plugs in, you can use them anywhere. And Doctor's Biome is literally available around the world. This show is heard in over 80 countries now. So at any given week, on any given show, 15, 20, or 30 or more countries are listening to that show, because our shows are dedicated to one specific, problem. So you call, if you want to, when you go to doctorsbiome.com, doctorsbiome.com, put in the code radio20 and you'll get 20% off your first order. And if you go on auto ship, you'll get another additional 10%, 10% off your first order, and you'll get an additional 10% off if you go on auto ship. So it's a great savings. You get 20% off then, and you'll get priority shipping. They run out all the time now, from what I hear. Of course, it's made in small batches and has to get laboratory safety testing before they can release it. And now that it's being sold literally all over the world, if you're listening in Europe, you can get it through Nutrined, Nutrid, Nutrined.com. Go to Nutrined.com. It's being sold literally all over the world. Very soon, in some countries out in Southeast Asia, including Singapore. So you can look for it there, and this way save you some shipping costs. The show today is on anti-aging. I am not against aging. As Marie Chevalier, who many of you don't know unless you're old enough to know the name, once said, when one considers the alternative to growing old, well, the key is to grow old and be well, not just to grow old. And that is the problem that most people are faced with. Growing old and being well is not an easy thing to accomplish these days. Nursing homes are proliferating all over this country, at least, the USA, as well as assisted living facilities. And this is not just because people are having a little bit of trouble, because they got a little bit of arthritis and they can't easily do certain things anymore. They're moving slow or something. We're talking about as people are getting older, they're becoming infirmed and they're becoming ill. They're developing many different problems. And they're winding up in places they just never thought they would ever wind up. I worked in 2 nursing homes for over 35 years of my 50 years as a doctor. And not one person there would ever say, "Oh, I knew I would wind up here." Okay. I have people that have said, "I would have done anything to avoid having to wind up here." And that's what they say now after they're already in there. What would they have done to prevent themselves from getting in there? And that's another whole story, because what you find is they're not willing to do what I'm going to be telling you all to be doing because it sounds too hard. It costs a little bit of money. It's not so, or I just don't want to. Fact of the matter is, fact of the matter is, it's not hard. All the things that we tell people to do here on my show basically are very, very easy to do. It's just you have to be wanting to. Um, I don't know if you all are hearing one of my dogs in the background, but I have 3 dogs and I call them uh, yellow alert, red alert, and intruder alert. So they let me know if a fly comes by, and then if the fly actually rings the doorbell, and then certainly if a fly enters my home, my dogs will let me know. So we have 2 rescues and one other purebred, and they're all characters. So please ignore any barking that you hear. In any case, um, so the key, grow old and be well, avoid having to go to a nursing home, and you should take what I'm telling you on these shows, the series of shows, to heart and start doing these things. If you happen to be watching this show on Voice America, you hear the show. I now put up a YouTube site called Functional Medicine with Dr. Robbins. And I take these shows that I'm recording now so you actually can see me. And some of you may actually be seeing me now if you're watching this on YouTube. One of the wonderful things about Voice America is that all these shows are archived, and so you can listen anytime you want. And YouTube is actually the same way. And we had a friend of mine put me up on there. So let's get right into now talking about probiotics and their effect. Recently, meaning in the last so many years, few years, intestinal microbiome has been becoming a key factor in the anti-aging process. And again, I'm not against aging. I just want to age gracefully. I'm 76 if you're watching this right now, and I don't dye my hair. You'll see I have plenty of pepper mixed in with that salt that you might see. You want to have energy to do things. So what we're learning is that as your intestinal biome changes with aging, you can get an imbalance in these intestinal microorganisms, the intestinal bacteria. And these actually lead to many age-related degenerative diseases in essence, unhealthy aging. It's a the gut is believe it or not, you think of your heart as being so important. Certainly you can't live without one. Your brain, your gut is actually a joke about that, but I'm not going to tell it. It's a little bit off color. Um, but the gut is a critical organ. If it's backing up with waste, your body is going to absorb toxins, and it's going to cause diseases and whatnot. If you've heard other shows that we've done on the gut, you'll know that the gut relates and interacts. The bacteria in your gut communicate with virtually every organ in your body. I just did a show on psoriasis and skin problems, rashes. The gut communicates with your skin. Your skin is an organ. Okay. You see how some people, as they grow old, doesn't look like they aged at all. It's amazing. Well, you go, well, it must be genetics. Wrong. It's not just genetics. There are things they're doing that made a critical difference as to what's happening with them. So it's just very well known that your gut, your intestinal tract, has an extremely complex and diverse community of this microbiome, of these probiotics, microorganisms. And of course, it contains bad ones, which we want to get rid of, as well as getting one very important one in balance again, called yeast, candida. Long living people that live long lives, we're talking into their 90s, even 100 or more. And some years ago, I don't know if the number has changed and gone up even higher. It was anticipated that by the year 2050, just here in the USA, there would be over 50 million centenarians. That means 50 million people living to at least the age 100. And worldwide, that could be far larger. What you're going to find is that number is going to go up as people learn about things like doctor's biome and ozone therapy and supplements to take, and they start using it. The numbers are going to go increase even more. But what fun is it becoming a centenarian, meaning you're 100 years old, if you're living in a nursing home, being kept alive by pharmaceuticals and various machines, dialysis machines and whatnot. It's not fun at all. So what they found, and that's where studies are coming out, and this is a big part of what I do as I lecture around on microbiome literally around the world. I'll be lecturing on ozone and the importance of ozone and microbiome at the American Academy of Stem Cell Physicians and their big meeting in Miami coming up in October. I'll be lecturing on anti-aging and how ozone and probiotics retard the aging process at Frontiers in Ozone in South Carolina coming up in November. For doctors, you may want to come to these meetings. But in any case, this is a big area of my research and time that I spend now in my latter years. And what they found is that long-living people have a very unique intestinal microbiome. Everybody's microbiome changes as they age, but they found that long-living people have a specific kind of diversity of beneficial and very large numbers of certain beneficial microbiome, bacterias, probiotics, which help support apparently healthy aging. Your gut microbiome is going to change as in its diversity as you age, based on what you eat, what you ingest, what you don't get. And you're going to get pro-inflammatory And it's inflammation, as you're going to learn, stress that actually damages your body and retards the and promotes aging and diseases and illness. So by getting anti-inflammatory microbes in you, okay, you can help reduce what's called inflammaging. Inflammaging. You can look that term up. And you're going to find that there's various bacterial species, probiotics, that are extremely anti-inflammaging um, and anti-inflammatory. And one of the biggest group is the bifidobacterium. Um, there's up to 300 different species or more that you may have in your gut at any given moment in time. And you're also going to have unhealthy ones. You know, the differences between beneficial and harmful bacteria obviously are that probiotics, by definition, have to create a beneficial effect on you, the host. Otherwise, they're not probiotics. And while you can call them that technically, if they don't actually create a beneficial effect, they're not acting as a probiotic. They just happen to be bacteria. And that's one of the problems in capsules, powders, and tablets when they don't come back to life. They're destroyed in the stomach. And according to Dr. Eliav and Segal from the Weizmann Institute in Israel, they claim almost 100% is destroyed in the stomach. Or they don't actually come out of the capsules, may not even open up. And they found that, and they did studies to show this. I read their studies, very interesting. They've done studies to show that that happens. And who examines their feces? Maybe you do, but it isn't one of my major things to not just look, but to examine it carefully to see if there's unopened vitamin and supplement capsules that may not have digested appropriately like they're supposed to. Then you have to have a healthy gut wall to absorb those nutrients. And if you have bad bacteria living in your gut wall, that's creating stress in the body. Now, stress is the number one killer in the world. Stress kills more people every day than all the diseases in the world put together. Stress kills more people every day, probably, than all the wars that have ever been fought. Okay. Stress is the number one killer. And what is stress? Now, for example, people think they don't really look on stress the way I've learned to look on it. A kiss is stressful. It sounds great. All right, I got a kiss from somebody I want to have kiss me, and I kissed back. But it's stressful to your body. It raises your adrenaline, your cortisone levels. A slap in the face. Wow, that's negative. That's stressful. Your body cannot tell the difference, believe it or not, between a kiss and a slap. Getting married, getting divorced, buying a home, selling a home, buying a boat, selling a boat, all the getting married, divorced, all these things seem, some would be positive and some might seem negative, but your body doesn't differentiate between the positive or the negative. It's just stressful. Stress is what kills people. The key is you need to reduce the stress in your body. Many of the shows that we're going to do, so I think it's going to be at least a 2 or 3 part segment, at least 3 parts to this anti-aging show that we're doing, is going to just be on stress management and stress itself. I mean, I've been doing transcendental meditation since 1976. TM, as it's called, or any form of meditation is good meditation. Everybody should be meditating every day. It's very important to reduce the stress in your body. All right. When we had the oxygen bar business, the oxygen station. People would come literally from around the world to our office in Manhattan, and they would inhale oxygen for 20 minutes. It doesn't cause a harmful oxidative process in the body, because oxidative processes in the body can actually be negative to your body. And that's why you read about antioxidants. Okay. But not all oxidation processes are harmful. Okay. Um, fact is, the fact is, um, you have to diminish harmful oxidation and increase healthy oxidation. So when people breathed in oxygen um, for 20 minutes, they walked out feeling great. Their skin was glowing, the kind of pictures you'd want to take if you were going to go get married that day. You just looked great and you felt great and you felt relaxed. Those were just some of the benefits of 20 minutes of inhaling oxygen through a little nasal cannula. Okay. So, um, harmful bacteria in your gut can cause all sorts of problems. They stop nutrients from being absorbed. Um, they produce toxins that do get into your blood that reach various organs in your body. It's proven, we've done shows on it, to show how the gut microbiome can cause depression and anxiety, which again, inflammaging, how it interacts with diabetes. And there's actually diabetic medication that can help slow the aging process down, metformin. I'm not a fan of it. Please don't go and try to get a script for it or buy it illegally. But there's research that shows that helps slow and retard the aging process because of its beneficial effects on your blood sugar. You don't want to have your blood sugar shooting up. If your blood sugar shoots up, it causes an adrenaline release by your body. Insulin has to neutralize that sugar that's now been released, possibly from your liver, or just from what you may have ingested orally when you're eating a poor food, a poor diet, loaded with easily digested sugars, refined sugars, refined carbohydrates, which break down into simple sugar for absorption. So you have to neutralize that with insulin, with adrenaline, and this ages you. Probiotics have been proven with a healthy gut to diminish that, lowers your A1C, helps prevent shooting and spiking of sugars, provided you eat a healthy diet. Healthy bacteria, healthy biome, particularly the species you find in Doctor's biome, also produce metabolites that have been proven very beneficial to your body, as well as to reduce the aging process. And as we've learned, as I said earlier, as we age, there's a shift from healthy bacteria into unhealthy bacteria taking place. It seems to be, and I'm not understanding yet why, because there's so much to learn. Why does this really happen? Why is it as we age, we seem to absorb and start utilizing unhealthy biome? So the key is you've got to combat it by getting the healthy species back in. What they've done, and they've done studies where they've taken done on mice, not on humans, okay, where they will take young gut microbiome, young youthful, call it youthful, gut bacteria, probiotics from normal healthy mice, and they put it into older mice, and they were able to extend the mice, their lifespan of the natural lifespan of the mice. I'm not suggesting you run and get a fecal matter transplant. An FMT is starting to become very popular. It's becoming useful. Okay. Um, in helping digestive diseases and disorders. But I am not suggesting that you go run out and get an FMT, even if you could. Okay. There's risks involved. A few people have died because of allergic reactions to them. But if you can get healthy bacteria into your gut wall and keep putting them in there because they get used up, they're always fighting to keep yeast in balance and to kill off bad bacteria that you're ingesting every time you drink something or eat something. Food and liquids are not sterile, and they contain biome bacteria that aren't necessarily healthy to you. So as you ingest these, they can get into your body, survive the stomach to some degree, and get and start living in the wall of your gut where they can grow in number. And that's why you have to put in some good boys to kill them off. It's been shown through numerous studies now that not only the bifidobacteria, but various strains of lactobacilli, lactobacterium, are the two basic probiotic strains that you can get easily enough, provided they're going to work. And these are the ones that are going to do the most good. Okay. These are the ones that are going to do the most good. Um, That's one of the reasons why, and we're going to go into more detail on that, that you're going to find that Doctor's Biome has 15 patented strains of bacteria, 15 patented strains that can help in that promotion. The ones that are going to do the most good when they do get in you. There's no product that puts out 300 different species, nor would anybody want to try to spend the money for that kind of a product. Probably would cost thousands of dollars every day to ingest some of it. But these 15 patented strains of proprietary blend have an amazing benefit, an absolute amazing benefit. One of the things that probiotics can do is put down oxidative stress on your body. They actually act as and in various ways as antioxidants. And you're going to want to be ingesting various antioxidants later on anyway to help with all of this. And we're going to be talking about how ozone, intravenous ozone and rectal ozone therapies, while they're oxidative processes, act more like antioxidants, okay? Because with oxidation, you get what's called harmful free radicals forming in your body. And antioxidants are designed to gobble up, get rid of these harmful free radicals. Well, ozone, when used medically correctly, as we do, acts as a free radical scavenger, even though it's an oxymoron. It's an oxidative process. It acts as a free radical scavenger. So it just works contrary to what one would think, and in a very positive and important way. As I said before our break, the microbiome, the probiotics that are in your gut, have been involved in many different ways in retarding the aging process. I told you they scavenge harmful free radicals, toxins, they fight pathogens. In general, they decrease inflammation, but you have to have the right ones. Studies have shown that certain ones continually have shown some benefits. One of the problems in the studies, and this is not a small thing, I mean, as I've learned, many gastroenterologists are not particularly fans of probiotics. Why? The studies have basically shown that sometimes they have some benefits, cer certainly been proven safe, certainly have been proven safe, but not necessarily extremely beneficial. So why have there been mixed results? Some benefits, some showing you should consider using them, but not really necessarily great. They didn't survive the stomach or stick to the wall of the gut. Or some of the studies have shown that various probiotics, or what we bacteria that they want to use as a probiotic, remember, it has to confer a health benefit on the host, just had little to no benefit at all. So what you want is to get patented strains, all right? And these are the strains you're looking for. First of all, the bifidobacteria. You want Bifidobacterium bifidum. You want breve, infantis, longum, lactis. Okay, those are the most important strains, and they have to work and play well with each other. Certain strains will overwhelm the other boys. They have to be able to survive the stomach. That's where the benefit of Doctor's Biome comes in, because they're already living. They don't have to come out of suspended animation. But even if they did, they have to be able to survive the stomach. So they have to be created to do that. And then they can't overwhelm each other, like Saccharomyces boulardii can be beneficial, but it overwhelms everybody else. It causes a lot of bloating. So while it has benefits, it's not the right one to take. So the bacteria have to be able to survive the stomach acid, pH, as well as the bile salts in the small intestine. Then you want to get, and so these particular ones, the bifidum, the breve, the infantis, the longum, and the lactis, bifidobacterium, will work and play well with each other. That's the important thing. Now, there's a whole bunch of lactobacilli that have been beneficial bacteria. Everybody knows acidophilus. It's actually a lactobacillus, but everybody has heard of acidophilus. And you've heard about how acidophilus has extended life in various Russian groups and other groups around the world, Greek groups, where they make their own yogurt. Basically, it aids digestion because it looks like a stick. It looks like your index finger. So it floats through the intestinal system, aiding digestion. But you need the kind that are going to stick to the wall of the gut. Some of the lactobacilli are sticks and some of them are not. But you want to put a group of them together that will work and play well with each other, allow each to grow in number, and again, survive the stomach and populate the wall of the gut. So in the lactobacilli family, you want acidophilus, you want brevis, bulgaricus, casei, gasseri, paracasei, plantarum, reuteri, rhamnosus, and salivarius. That's a lot. If you go to doctorsbiome.com, they have that listed on there, so you'll know what their proprietary blend is. What they do leave out, because there's just no room for them to put it in, is that all these different probiotic species have letters and numbers after their name. They don't have to put them in. It's proprietary blend, so they're not going to put them on the label. I think they did early on. But these have letters and numbers after their name, which means they have been created to survive the stomach. You know, maybe I figure maybe 100 or more years ago, our soil was different from the soil that we have now. where it's basically so depleted of nutrients, trace minerals, which are very important to anti-aging. We'll be discussing those on one of the next shows on this. Um, the soil probably had probiotics in it. So when you ate food naturally that you harvested from in the wild or from the garden, you got these nutrients, you got these probiotics, and you were able to utilize them. Today, our soil worldwide has been so destroyed and so depleted. It lacks trace minerals. It lacks probiotics. So we're forced to get them some other way. Now, when a baby is born without bacteria, believe it or not. The baby gets some probiotics as it exits the birth canal in your mommy. The problem is, what if your mommy had a C-section? C-sections are very common here in the USA. I don't know about worldwide. I imagine not. But certainly here in the USA, very common. So now you're not going to get any that way. The next way babies get probiotics is through mother's milk, through breastfeeding. Unfortunately, and I don't believe that's the way it is around the world, here in the US, more and more women don't breastfeed or breastfeed for very long at all. And I'm not talking about getting that first month of colostrum that the babies get, which can help fight any kind of infection and help a child, a baby, until their immune system starts to develop and start working. But many babies are deprived of that because the mothers don't breastfeed or they have a problem with it. But then the catch is to continue to get healthy bacteria from mother's milk, the mother has to have a healthy gut. If the mother doesn't have a healthy gut, what is it going to be giving to the baby? And that's why so many children today, I can't say the only reason, but one of the major reasons why so many children today here in North America get colds and flus and seem to be sick very frequently is because they don't have healthy guts. One of the good things about Doctor's Biome is you can give smaller dose, comes in these 2-ounce shots, but you can give a smaller dose to a baby, a brand new baby even, and just a small amount each day. And you don't need the whole bottle, that's for sure. And then as the child grows more and more and more until they're getting a full adult dose once they become adult size. And what you'll find is that your child doesn't get sick all the time. Okay. So what you're actually doing is slowing down the aging process from the time they're babies and young children. That doesn't mean they're going to not grow old and they're not going to grow up and everything else. They're actually going to grow up healthier is what's going to happen. You can try taking, if you can find it. Unfortunately, what I have found is that there's a couple of others, bacterias, and that's the reason they don't put them in. The Archimansia and the Christensenlaceae. I can't pronounce that. It's a big, long name. The Archimansia municipilia. Unfortunately, these aren't readily available. They're generally only in powdered form. They have basically some help with aging, but that's about it. On our next show on this subject, which may or may not be next week, later this month, in a couple of weeks, I'll be flying out to California to help train a group of doctors in ozone therapy with my buddy, Dr. Robert Rowan. I just became the executive director, or they're in the process of making me executive director of the organization Ozone Without Borders. So the Society for the Advancement of Biooxidative Therapy. And we're going to be talking about how biooxidative therapy can retard the aging process, not enhance it and make you grow old faster. We're also going to talk about vitamin C, vitamin A and D and E. We're going to talk about resveratrol and so many other products that can be very helpful. Meanwhile, you could be doing rectal insufflation at home, which will slow the aging process down by helping you absorb some ozone into your gut. If you call and get set up for home care, Promo Life at 888-742-3404. That's 888-742-3404. Tell them you heard about it here on Dr. Howard Robbins' show, and they'll do something special for you. You also want to get, as I've been pushing all through this show, my sponsor, Doctor's Biome, at doctorsbiome.com. Okay, doctorsbiome.com. And remember to put the code radio20 in to get a 10% discount off your first order. And if you want to make it 20%, kick it up a notch, then just put in for auto ship. You'll get 130 bottle box, 2-ounce shot, 30 of them every month automatically. And it'll save you 20% off the actual cost, which is a wonderful savings. If you have questions, email me at Ozone Doctor, OZONEDOCTOR at Yahoo, YAHOO.com. Ozone Doctor at Yahoo.com. If you want to speak with me or make an appointment to even come in, become a patient, call my office in Manhattan at 212-581-0101. That's 212-581-0101. Everybody, I just want you to, say, listen, it's an honor and a privilege to have people listen to, to come on here and listen to me. Everybody has a choice as to what time they spend in their life and who they're willing to spend the time listening to. I hope that the shows that I'm offering you are not just informative, but beneficial to your health. We strive for that. If you have any suggestions about that, please don't hesitate to either speak with me directly or, email me at ozonedoctor@yahoo.com. It's always an honor and a privilege to spend time with you all. We'll be back again here next week, live and in person on Functional Medicine with Dr. Robbins. Thank you all very much. Have a great week.